12-volt sockets for cars. They've come a long way since their original idea came around and their original intention for coming around. For the longest of times, they were just used for lighting cigarettes. Now, manufacturers don't even recommend you even trying that with their newer vehicles. They're a great way to add on certain things to your car without breaking the bank, example, heated seats or heated seat covers. However, there is some added awkwardness to these because of the fact that you're constantly plugging in or taking out the plug in order to turn on or turn off the unit. And I mean, you can also get the ones with the little toggles on the bottom, but that also is awkward because at the end of the day, you can really run down your battery if you're not careful and methodical and make sure that you're doing it all the time. So, solutions for that. Well, I mean, you could go through your car and try to take apart the wiring and make it so that the ignition controls the plug outlet that you have. Some manufacturers actually do have that, but it's pretty rare. And it's also kind of awkward to set up. So, how do you address that concern? Well, you could try looking on the internet and maybe seeing if someone has a 12-volt splitter that does it for you. That has not been the case. I've looked around at several different places. I have not seen anything that's that smart or intelligent yet. So, gotta make our own. So, I'm going to show you how I did mine. I'll give you the Amazon parts necessary for it. And hopefully this helps somebody out. So, right over here, I have a 3-piece splitter. This particular one is rated up to 60 watts. And what I really like about this is that it is simple in its own way. The plug on the back is one of these ones that sort of pigtails off on a 90, which I think is much better because when you're in a tight situation for plugging in, having the straight pigtail is not ideal. The other thing too is a lot of manufacturers now like to sneak in these little USB adapters right on the actual piece here. And for this application that we're trying to do, we want to have control after the plug. We don't want to have any kind of draw. So this one here is perfect for what we need. In fact, I've already set it up. The other thing too is how we're going to control it is with a VSR, a voltage sensitive relay. I've already set everything up here, so I'm just going to give you guys the little rundown. And I've taken a few things apart on this particular one because I bought 2 of them. This here is the VSR. You'll notice it's quite bulky. If I had the option of getting something a little bit smaller, I would have. This is rated at 125 amps. This is going to read anything coming through that plug and kick on the bridge in between of these two at about 13.3 volts. So what it does, the red terminal on here is what's reading coming from the plug, and then you also have a ground wire that ties in with that plug as well. And then of course you've got the outrunning plug going out to your splitter. And that's all there is. That's all there is to it. Now, I will give you a demonstration of that and how it works. And also what I'm going to do is, because it's such a simple unit, and I have no real complaints about simple units, that's fine. But what I also like to do is, there's an LED on here that's hidden for the USB converter on here. But what I'm also going to do, take a little bit of LED wiring and put it somewhere inside of here, if I can. And if I do that, I will show it to you. Okay, so I thought I'd give a little bit of a breakdown on this particular splitter, on how I did the wiring for it. This particular one has a plastic piece that sits here, and they're all held down by 4 screws. This guy here. They're technically a 2mm Allen. I was able to take them out with a T8. And then of course, this little plastic piece on the top here just falls off, which exposes a little bit of here. You also have 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, that hold on the plastic housing together. And once that peels off, you can get access to the entire assembly here. So your negative is always going to be this particular ring, and your positive is going to be this particular plate. That way when you're inserting it, you can't accidentally touch the positive. And then of course we've got the little circuit board for the converter on the USB, which is going to be really nice. I can splice into that to make the lighting work up. So you're going to want to make sure that you ohm out between here and here to make sure that it's got a good connection. And then you're going to want to take note. Sometimes on these they have an indication of which wire is which. In this particular instance, and it's really hard to see because my camera won't focus, there we go. You can see one has a dashed line going across it. That dashed line in this instance is the positive terminal. So you're going to split up that positive terminal, put it onto some eye loops, and connect it out the VSR with the source coming from here to the red and the output going yonder. Then of course you've got the grounding coming off of here. I simply decided to cut the wire in here, use one butt splice for one wire, and then put two under another for a connection there. So, that's it. So the lighting was a success, everything's back together. Just going to do a demo right now and start a vehicle with this plugged in. There you go. A little bit of illumination so you can actually see what you're plugging into. And then when I kick the engine off, it also shuts off.